Joining me right now is the president of the Eurasia Group and the president of G0 Media, Ian Bremmer. Also with us all morning long this morning is James Freeman from the Wall Street Journal and Brian Brenberg. Great to see everybody this morning. Ian, thanks very much for joining me. Welcome back to the program. I guess let me get your assessment of where we are in this competition with China and your reaction to how the U.S. is handling this threat. As we know, the CCP wants to put China back where they say it rightfully belongs as the #1 superpower of the world, which would be overtaking the United States.
You know, as you know, Maria, that meeting we had in Anchorage was extremely contentious. The speech that was given at the beginning by Yang Jiechi, who runs foreign policy at the Communist Party, probably the most antagonistic speech by a senior official directed right at the United States since Vladimir Putin in Munich back in 2007. So it was a really big deal. I think the thing they are angriest about right now is the fact that the Biden administration is looking to coordinate policies of sanctions that they see as containment-oriented policies with other countries around the world. They find that unacceptable, and they're going after the UK, as you said earlier this week. They also went after the European Union. They're basically saying, look, guys, we are absolutely critical for you economically, and we're going to make you pay if you think you can get away with telling us how we're going to run our internal affairs. And from China's perspective, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the Uyghur issue are all sovereign Chinese issues, and we have zero business telling them what to do. The Americans have no moral authority, the Chinese say, and the Europeans have no power position to be able to do so. And that's how you're seeing them respond.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the whole world should be worried about this if, in fact, the CCP is trying to make the communists be the dominant superpower. Look, you've got the CCP, state media-run Global Times newspaper calling for boycotts of brands like H&M, Burberry, Nike, over the concerns of the forced labor of the Uyghur Muslims. The Journal reports on this morning in a story in the paper as well as on the editorial board. The Journal op-ed says Beijing's global cancel culture, Ian, writing, the Communist Party's strategy is to use China's market power as leverage to shut down critics anywhere in the world. China will continue these commercial beatings until they no longer work, Ian. And, it was really stunning to me reading the story in the Journal this morning about what the CCP has done to H&M. Ian, on Thursday, you couldn't even order a car to an H&M store. It was impossible on Didi, that's like the Uber of China, the country's largest ride-hailing app, because it did not recognize the brand as a valid destination, Ian. You search for H&M on multiple Chinese map apps, including Baidu, others, zero results. As if the clothing company did not even exist, despite the fact that, Ian, it has 400 stores in China right now.
Yeah, well, maybe 400 stores, not for long, Maria. I mean, look, the fact is that the Chinese economy, as you know, is the second largest economy in the world. It's on track to being the first within a decade. And the Chinese government is making very clear that they are intending to use that power against countries that behave in ways they don't like. Remember, there's a massive trade war going on with Australia right now. It doesn't get as much news here in the United States.
That's right.
Time zone's a bit off. But I mean, they're not selling their wine. They're not selling their spiny lobsters. And there were dozens and dozens of Australian ships loaded up with commodities just sitting there. The Chinese had promised they were going to buy. And suddenly, because the Australians teamed up with the United States in calling for an investigation into the initial cover-up of the human-human transmission of coronavirus, the Chinese government said, we are going to take it to you, Australia. Now, they wouldn't do that to the United States directly because we're much more powerful. But Australia, the United Kingdom, they're making these direct policies because individually these countries are much weaker. And they're also much more dependent on China. And in many cases, China's going to win. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of South American leaders over the last few months who are telling me that they're not going to align with the United States on 5G, not because they don't want to. They'd much rather be with the Americans than the Chinese, but because the Chinese investment and trade is so important to them, and they don't think they can afford economically to antagonize them. This is our backyard we're talking about, Maria.
Yeah, no, this is very dangerous. And, look, anybody who doesn't understand the issues and the ramifications will be really sorry about this later. Brian Brenberg, jump in here. I've been giving Australia's government a shout out. Good for them to be tough enough to stand up to China, stand up to big tech, because, somebody's got to stop the CCP with this bullying across the world, Brian.
Agree with that totally, Maria. But Ian, what's interesting to me is, as you said, the CCP wouldn't go directly to the United States like they have with Australia, but they will go directly to U.S. companies. That's where they see their point of leverage. They want U.S. companies to carry their water globally. To my mind, U.S. companies are not ready for this. The NBA wasn't ready for this. Disney wasn't ready for this. Now Nike is being punished. Do you think America's corporations, when push comes to shove, can stand up for American values, or do you see them folding? And is that what China's betting on?
Well, let's be clear. Some of the most important American corporations out there, like Facebook, like Google, like Amazon, actually have no access to the Chinese data market, by far the largest data market in the world. So they're already, when they go and they testify in Congress, they're already taking a much tougher line on China because their shareholders aren't making any money in China. Now, it's very interesting. Tesla, one of the most important companies in the United States, massive value right now. Elon Musk, one of the wealthiest in the world. He's been incredibly nice to the Chinese. And he's also been developing a lot of his technology there. He's willing to take an axe to the SEC in the United States, but not to the Chinese government. But on the back of the Anchorage meeting, you may have seen the headlines that the Chinese government decided that Teslas can't be on military bases because they could be spying. The cameras they have, the 360-degree views. The fact, as you say, American companies are going to be squeezed hard if the Chinese government thinks that that's a point of leverage to diminish the level of policy, sanctions, tariffs, and the rest, that are, as well as just calling on the Chinese on human rights and the rest that are coming out of Washington right now. And as you know, one of the only areas of strong bipartisan agreement. You guys can say that Biden did a good or a bad job yesterday, but the Democrats and the Republicans largely agree on U.S. policy towards China right now. There are a lot of U.S. corporations that feel a lot softer, at least when they're on the record, because they're making a lot of money there. And so that is an area of leverage for the Chinese government. They know that.
That's absolutely right. And Ian, I agree. This whole fight and competition between the U.S. and China, or really more accurately, China and the free world, is going to play out in the corporate sector. That's where this is going to play out, because it's companies that can actually take a stand. A lot of them have been letting us down and letting the free world down in this very subject because of what you said. They're making a lot of money on it. Ian, it's always great to get your insights on all of this. Thanks very much. Yeah, go ahead. Final word, Ian. Go ahead.
No, watch the Olympics. Mitt Romney came out last week, big op-ed saying that we shouldn't punish our athletes. But the corporates shouldn't sponsor, the tourists shouldn't go. The Chinese government is going to squeeze the corporations to say, you better sponsor if you want to continue to work here. This is just coming up early next year. This is going to become very, very contentious, Maria.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, the Beijing Olympics is not on my calendar, and that is just outrageous. We've been talking about that op-ed for the last week, Ian, and the bottom line is one congressman told us he thinks they're going to be taking the athletes' DNA. You have to understand what you're walking into. If you're going to go to Beijing and go to the Olympics with all of the data and surveillance going on in communist China, it's important for everybody to understand the risks.
See you soon.
Ian, great to see you. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Ian Bremmer joining us there.